Support for SportsPage is provided by the University Store at the Crossing. The University Store at the Crossing is the official headquarters for Mules and Jenny's emblem clothing, gifts, and UCM memorabilia. Books, office supplies, art supplies, and more are available at the University Store located on the lower level of the Elliott Union on the UCM campus in Warrensburg. And promotional support for SportsPage is provided by 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of the University of Central Missouri Athletics.
Tonight on SportsPage, we will take a look at Jenny's volleyball as they enjoy big wins on Halloween weekend.
And Jenny's soccer is moving on in the MIAA tournament.
We'll have all that and more on this week's edition of the UCM Sports Page.
Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of the University of Central Missouri Sports Page. I'm Daniel Barnett.
And I'm Asia Garrison. And as usual, lots going on in UCM athletics. We're going to begin this week with some Jenny's volleyball. UCM volleyball headed into last weekend at number 5 in the MIAA. The Jennies had a pair of critical matches as they looked to stay in the conference hunt. Friday night, UCM took on Central Oklahoma. The Broncos came in as the number 1 team in the MIAA. The Jennies gained some ground as they swept UCO 3-0. UCM did the job on both ends of the court. The Jennies hit 243 for the match. The Broncos, meanwhile, hit just 153. The Jennies and Broncos went back and forth throughout the first set, but UCM was able to take the lead late on Central Oklahoma, hitting error to make it 21-20. The Jennies never trailed again and pulled out the first set 25-23. UCM carried its energy from the first set into the second. The Jennies looked like they might cruise to victory when they got up 18-10, but the Broncos were not going down without a fight. They closed the gap 22-21 on a 6-1 run, but that was as close as they got. Soika's 5th kill of the set gave a UCM a 2-0 lead in the match. The third set was just as dramatic. Even the UCM drum line was fired up. The Jennies got ahead by 5, 15-10. That forced the UCO timeout. But the Broncos fought back with an 8-3 run in the set at 18. UCM turned on the gas at that point and went on its own 6-1 run to make set 3 25-19. Soika and Maddie Jones led the offense while Kylie Holan and Annie Riley led the defense. The win was the Jennies' second over a ranked opponent this season and their 5th win in the last 6 matches. With Friday night's big win, the Jennies had momentum going into Saturday's match against the Pittsburgh State. That moment carried UCM to a 3-0 win over the Gorillas. The Jennies made it look easy in the first set with Casey Holan putting down 4 of her 11 kills and leading UCM to 25-10 win. UCM came out strong in the second set as well as Coach Flip Piontek's team kept it focused and was able to jump in front 17-10. Pittsburgh State fought back to get within 22-20, but the Jennies closed out the match with 3 straight points for the 25-20 win. The Jennies had their work cut out for them and looking too close out the third set. Once again, Pittsburgh State would not go away. UCM led by 1, 16-15 before going on yet another run to win the set 25-18. That win gave the Jennies the season swept over Pittsburgh State for the 5th consecutive year. This weekend put the Jennies at 22-4 overall and 10-3 in the MIAA.
Jennies soccer began MIAA tournament play last night. Top-seeded Jennies took on Washburn in the opening round. Now let's take a look at how it all went down. Jennies got on the board first in the 15th minute when Megan Woolley received a pass from Hannah Pyle and then found the back of the net. The goal is Woolley's 11th of the season. Central Missouri scored again in the 26th minute when Abby Rhodes crossed the ball to Jada Scott, tucked it into the bottom right corner. Jennies have a 2-0 lead. The goal pushes her total to 9 on the year. Washburn would cut into the lead though 2-1 in the 63rd minute when Bailey Wobig found the back of the net as goalkeeper Anna Dilks could not get back in time to save the rebound. Jennies did not allow any more shots on goal after Washburn scored and held on for a 2-1 victory. Jennies outshot the Ichabods 21-4. With the win, the Jennies improved to 17-2 and will advance to host Fort Hays State in the MIAA semifinals Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. at Jennies Field. Jennies were also in action over the weekend, posting a pair of shutouts. On Friday, the Jennies earned a 1-0 shutout over the Lindenwood Lions. Jennies got on the board in the 26th minute when Julie Ireland picked up a rebound off a shot and found the back of the net to put the Jennies up 1-0. The goal is her 12th of the season. Then on Sunday, Jennies ended the regular season on a high note with a 1-0 shutout over Missouri Western. The win gives the Jennies their 6th straight MIAA regular season crown and the 8th title in the last 9 years. Jenny scored the only goal of the game in the 82nd minute when Megan Woolley scored her 10th goal of the season on a shot that sent the ball rolling through the arms of the goalkeeper. Anna Dilks played all 90 minutes in goal for Central Missouri and recorded 4 saves in the shutout. She now has 10 on the season.
You're watching the UCM Sports Page on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS, and the UCM Media Network.
I choose red to blaze my own trail.
I choose red to be with students and faculty who make me feel at home.
I wanted a university with a big picture perspective. That's why I chose red.
Why do you choose red?
Choose red.
Choose red. Choose the University of Central Missouri. Choose red. Can I do that? Is that allowed?
Live with a human for a while and you get to know a few things. Like, I know she's actually not a morning person. I know she does strange tricks for no treats. I know that water makes her howl like crazy. I even know how the floor stays so clean. She's quick. But the one thing I will never for the life of me know is how she gets so tiny and inside that box. Natalie, how do you get so tiny?
It was just another day at the office for Mules football as they had another blowout victory last weekend. Daniel, let's take a look.
All right. The 18th ranked Mules rolled to a 31-0 win at Lindenwood on a wet and windy Saturday afternoon to run their win streak to 6 games. Mules improved to 7-2 on the season and earned their first shutout since a 44-0 win over Washburn last season. Eric Siebenschuh, he got his first start for the Mules as starter Garrett Fugate would miss the game with an injury. Mules would get on the board on their second drive of the game as Siebenschuh would hit Ian Tolson for a 17-yard touchdown to put UCM in front 7-0. Siebenschuh then he's going to get some help from his defense. Going the other way, Montez Lattimore, he's going to capitalize on the overthrow right here, and the Mules are back in business. Stay tuned for more from the St. Louis native. UCM, they're going to strike again early in the second quarter. They're going to scoop up a fumble deep in Lions territory, and then right after that, Siebenschuh, he's got Josh Pickerel wide open in the back of the end zone for the score. Mules lead 14-0. And then we told you Lattimore would be back. He's going to come up big again for the Mules. He thwarts yet another Lindenwood drive. Lattimore's fired up, and the Mules would end up collecting 3 turnovers in this one. Second half now. First possession for the Mules, they're going to put together an 11-play, 68-yard drive, culminating in a 30-yard Billy Greco field goal to give the Mules a 17-0 lead. Following a 3-and-out by the UCM defense, the offense put together another 11-play drive, this one spanning 55 yards. Siebenschuh is going to gain the final 7 yards on the ground with 3 runs, including a 2-yard touchdown, to put the Mules in front 24-0. Lions drove to the UCM 45 on their next possession, but the UCM defense is going to help. They're going to force a punt. Seth Hebert, he's going to come through the line untouched, block the punt. Mules would take over at the Lindenwood 33. Siebenschuh then, he's going to drop back, throw the deep ball down for his boy Jay-Z, Jalen Zachary, 37-yard gain. That's going to put the Mules at the 1, knocking on the door again. Siebenschuh then, he's going to score his second rushing touchdown of the game. That's going to give the Mules a 31-0 lead, and they would not look back. At the end of the third quarter, the only thing in doubt was whether or not the Mules would get the shutout. UCM defense kept the Lions off the board and stopped them on downs 3 different times in the fourth quarter. Eric Siebenschuh, he'd end the day 25-44 for 260 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also rushed 23 times for 101 yards and 2 more scores. The Mules outgained the Lions 469 to 243 and held Lindenwood to just 77 yards rushing. The Mules have now won 6 straight games for the 2nd straight year and the 3rd time in the Jim Svoboda era.
When we come back, Tristan McClellan will take a look at upcoming UCM athletics schedule.
Tristan will also highlight all the Mules and Jenny's news and notes. Stay tuned. You're watching the UCM Sports Page on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS, and the UCM Media Network.
Spending time with my boys is precious. I love being a dad. It's what I cherish above all other things, especially now. I was deployed to Iraq and served there for just over 12 months. I am certainly proud, but more grateful for that opportunity. When I was in Iraq, I was amazed that I could access PBS online. The coverage that the NewsHour provided gave an accurate portrayal of the events as I understood them unfolding. I thought it was an outstanding resource. It was a great way for me to stay connected to my country, but also where it really mattered, which was home. Having that tangible connection was really meaningful for me. PBS is something that I trust, and what they reflect to me is what's best about my country.
I choose red for unlimited possibilities.
I choose red because my family is less than an hour away, but I still get to be independent.
I get to apply my classroom experience to my everyday life. That's why I chose red. Okay, that'll work.
Why do you choose red?
Choose red.
Choose red.
Choose the University of Central Missouri.
Choose red. Kidding, that was a joke.
Welcome back. There's lots of action coming up for the Mules and Jennies. Let's take a look at this week's UCM athletics.
Jennies volleyball heads west for a pair of games over the weekend before returning to Warrensburg for a Tuesday night clash. The Jennies are in Emporia State at 6 p.m. Friday and Washburn at 3 p.m. Saturday. UCM then hosts Lindenwood at 7 p.m. Tuesday.
Jennies bowling all back in action for the first time in almost a month. UCM competes at the Valparaiso Crusader Classic in Maryville, Indiana, Friday through Sunday.
The 15th ranked Mules football squad will return home for the final regular season home game of the season against rival Pittsburgh State. It's Military Appreciation Day and it's also Senior Day. Kickoff is set for 2:30.
The Mules and Jennies cross-country teams will be at the NCAA Central Regional Saturday in Joplin, Missouri. Times for the event have yet to be announced. You can keep up with the Mules and Jennies results and stats and news at ucmathletics.com.
Jenny Soccer claimed its 6th consecutive MIAA regular season title. They picked up a win last night in the conference tournament and will play again Friday. Jenny's volleyball is tied 4th at 10-3 in the MIAA, but just a game and a half out of first place, with 5 games left to play. Mules football pushed its win streak to 6 games with a shutout over Lindenwood Lions with 2 games left to play. Their playoff hopes are still alive. So now that you know what's coming up in the UCM athletics and where the Mules and Jennies stand in conference polls, let's check out what else is happening. Jennies volleyball jumps to the 13th spot in the American Volleyball Coaches Association's poll. They also debuted at the number 7 in the first NCAA Central Region rankings. Ann Riley was awarded the MIAA Specialist of the Week for her efforts. Riley helped lead the Jennies to a 2-0 weekend as UCM swept the 12th ranked Central Oklahoma Broncos and the Pittsburgh State Gorillas. Riley averaged almost 6 digs per set over the weekend. She also had 8 assists with 3 service aces. Great work, Annie. Moving right along, Mules football moved up to the 24th spot in the American Football Coaches Association poll. Looking to squeeze their way into the playoffs, the Mules are currently in the 8th NCAA Super Region 3 ranking, and the top 7 teams make it to the playoffs. So good luck. Jennies soccer also moved up in the national polls. The Jennies came in at number 9 this week, up 1 spot from last week. They also came in the number 2 in this week's Central Region rankings. Anna Dilks claimed her 4th MIAA Goalkeeper of the Week honors this season. She played in all 180 minutes over the weekend, recording 6 saves, and her 2 shutouts put her at 10 for the season. Great job, Anna. And finally, now this is really impressive, Jennies soccer had 11, that's right, 11 players earned all MIAA honors. There's more though. Senior Julie Ireland was named Offensive Player of the Year. Junior Abby Rose was named Defensive Player of the Year or Defender of the Year. And guess who else? Sophomore Anna Dilks was named Goalkeeper of the Year. Congratulations. Head coach Louis Theobald was named MIAA Co-Coach of the Year. And that would be his 8th of the year. So he is doing something incredible with this program. The Jennies have a home field advantage throughout the MIAA tournament, which they're hosting all week at the South Rec Complex. So you got to go and support those Jennies. But that's all we have for news and notes this week. Be sure to tune in next week for the latest updates from Mules and Jennies Sports.
One more quick break. When we return, Jason Ketz, he sat down with the man who has the Mules football team rolling. Head coach Jim Svoboda is our guest on this week's Coach's Corner.
You're watching the UCM Sports Page on KMOS-TV and the UCM Media Network.
I grew up in Harlem during the Depression, but I was extremely fortunate to have an opportunity to go to college, tuition free. When I retired, I thought if I can even help one person go to college, I'll have done something really great. So I support one student with a scholarship. I see the values of PBS in sync with my values. And just the way I want to pass on a legacy of education, I would like to pass PBS on to the next generation. That's why I've included my PBS station in my estate planning.
Call 1-800-753-3436.
I like to think that PBS is concerned with our soul. If your soul is in the right place, you're giving back.
For the past 6 seasons, Jim Svoboda has been calling the shots for Mules football. This year, he and the Mules are on the verge of their 3rd berth in the NCAA playoffs.
Jason Ketz had a chance to visit with Coach Svoboda on this week's edition of the Coach's Corner.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Coach's Corner. I'm Jason Ketz, and sitting alongside here with 6th-year head coach of the Mules, Jim Svoboda. Coach, thanks again for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you got a big week coming up with Pittsburgh State.
Kind of a big week.
Should be going to be the MIAA game of the week. Just talk a little bit about the matchup with the Gorillas and how it's going to play out.
Well, you know, a number of weeks ago we had our backs against the wall, and you know, we got into the habit of not looking down the stretch at that point in time, just taking it one game at a time, being 1-0 week in and week out. And you know, looking down the road, I was hopeful that this game would be meaningful for us, and as it turned out, it very much is. And Pitt's got another outstanding football team, and you know, they have a tremendous tradition there, and these kinds of games are exciting. They have a strong following, and we obviously have a strong following here at Walton Stadium, and I think our kids are really excited about the game, and I think everybody around will be excited about the game because there's a lot on the line.
And Coach, let's wind the clocks back a couple years here now. You're originally from Denison, Iowa. We both share a little common thing for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Just talk about growing up. You know, how you got started with the game of football.
Always been fans. I mean, it's been a part of our lives for as long as I can remember. I have very vivid memories of Thanksgiving and watching Nebraska play Oklahoma at my grandmother's house. Everybody surrounded around a 20-inch black and white TV watching those games and cheering on the Huskers. And so it's been something that, you know, like I said, has been a part of my life as long as I can remember. Fans in the family, and also had a couple uncles that coached, and they had a strong influence on me. And growing up, I had outstanding coaches that you know, really took a broader perspective on coaching and the impact that it can have on young people, along with the love of the game of football. And so I always had a kind of a deeper feeling about the game than just the game itself, and you know, working with young people, and so you know, to be honest with you, I've never really thought about doing anything else, and I'm not sure I could.
And kind of stepping a little bit away from the football side of things, how are you able to, you know, have a balance of, you know, having a home life with your wife Susan and then being the football coach?
I got the right wife, that's for sure. And we made a conscious decision many years ago to not have a family of our own. Have 120 kids every fall, and so that's sort of been our family. She's definitely been with me every step of the way. She's missed the only game she really missed is when I was at UCLA, and it's hard to make all the games there. She's not missed one single game here at Central. When I was at Nebraska Wesleyan, I think she missed one game in 7 years. So definitely all in terms of my career choice, and she's very much a part of it, very much an integral part of my success. Any success I have had, you can really stem back to her and her support for me and my career choice.
Just kind of a quick little tidbit here about your coaching career altogether. You've coached 38 All-Americans, a National Player of the Year. You've had 13 NFL draft picks and signees, and you've had countless record-breaking players, not only at the quarterback position but everywhere else. What do you want your coaching legacy to be left?
I think it goes back to what I said before. I mean, the challenging part and the conundrum with coaching is that, you know, in the end, in my mind, you're probably measured about, you know, by how many kids you bring along the way or who you help along the way. And but the challenge is that to keep your job, you got to win some games. And you know, we're all about winning. I mean, that's why you keep score, and that's the ultimate goal. But at the same time, you know, as I discuss with my assistant coaches, if it's only football, then we probably ought to be doing something else. You have kids that are 18 to 22 years old. It's a very impressionable part of their life. You have a captive audience because they want to play football, so that's a useful tool in terms of giving them things that you know, that they can carry with them for the rest of their lives. Our mission as a program really is to, you know, is to win championships, produce graduates, and form leaders for the future. And we do everything in our power to make those, you know, that mission come true in our program. And you know, it's a high maintenance job, but it's worth every second of it.
And Coach, again, I really appreciate the time. We know you're a very busy man, and good luck with the rest of the way.
Enjoyed my time.
All right, that's it for this week's edition of the Coach's Corner. Guys, back to you.
Tristan, you had a chance to play for head coach Jim Svoboda. Right. Tell us a little bit about him.
He's very passionate, you know, about his job. You know, I played for many of head coaches, and that's probably one of the best head coaches I've played for. You know, he's very passionate at what he does, and he's able to get his players to buy into his system and, you know, be successful with it. You know, so that's, you know, credit to Coach Svoboda and, you know, his staff. He's a, you know, really good coach.
Yeah, really doing some good things for the Mules. 6-game win streak, that's impressive. Glad he's on our side.
Definitely.
All right. We'll have more great features, scores, and highlights from around UCM athletics next week, so be sure to tune in. Remember, you can watch us every Thursday night at 9:30 on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS. You can also follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I'm Daniel Barnett.
I'm Tristan McClellan.
And I'm Asia Garrison. We hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching the UCM Sports Page on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS, and on the UCM Media Network. See you next week.
Support for Sports Page is provided by the University Store at the Crossing. The University Store at the Crossing is the official headquarters for Mules and Jenny's emblem clothing, gifts, and UCM memorabilia. Books, office supplies, art supplies, and more are available at the University Store located on the lower level of the Elliott Union on the UCM campus in Warrensburg. And promotional support for Sports Page is provided by 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of the University of Central Missouri Athletics.